Performing a hang clean helps produce force in the sagittal plane. So there are many common errors that are involved with the hang clean. So I'll show you the correct version, and then I'll show you some of the common errors involved with performing the hang clean. So the first portion involves going into a stiff-legged deadlift pattern, having hip extension, shrugging, and then catching. So it's going to look like this from the front view, and I'll show you the side view afterwards. So as well, the hang clean will start a little bit higher. You've got to pull from blocks, pull it out of the squat rack, or start from pins within the squat rack. One or the other. Alright? So from the side view, there are three common errors that I often see when working with different athletes. The first one is when you're scooping under, your feet tend to go wide in order to accommodate for the movement. Another one is reverse curling, often because the weight is really light and you can manage that specific weight because you're still working on the technique. The third one involves not having our elbows underneath or having a good thoracic extension as we're doing this movement. So if you have an incorrect pattern, you're going to look like this, as opposed to standing tall. So to correct the first one with the feet coming underneath, the idea here is you're going to first just work on coming into this movement pattern. Often you hear different coaches yelling stop before or working on the stop. The stop is relevant. That's just to make sure you're landing in the same spot. The stop is there to help you avoid that or star finishing of any type of movement pattern. Essentially, it helps to think about avoiding your knees from collapsing in. So, I'll show you from the front with this. The incorrect movement pattern with the hang clean and the starfish movement. So it allows you to get on lower and reduces the range of motion. The idea here is you're not going to only work on the stop, but also the force reduction within that movement pattern. So, notice that my stop is not excessively loud. There's really no point whenever my feet come up off the air. The idea is I'm coming up to a certain point, I can come up a millimeter or 10 inches, it doesn't matter, as long as I get the weight underneath and in a rack position. So the next portion is the reverse bicep curl, whatever you want to call it. The idea there is, since the weight is very light, you're just going to go ahead and bring it up. There's no hip extension, there's no shrugging during this movement. Essentially, there's no triple extension. So the idea we want to work with is you're here, so it looks like this. It's very slow, there's no ounce of athleticism during this movement. So the idea you want to work on is to first regress the movement, work on a hang shrug movement pattern with hip extension. This will also help reinforce the lack of the starfish within the feet, because when I'm at the top, I'm getting full extension. Alright? The last one involves not only having specific mobility, because specific athletes and individuals may have different mobility or stability requirements. The idea is to not only perform those, yes, but to work on the technique within the hang clean. So if you're catching the movement similar to the reverse curl, you're stopping here, we want to make sure we get our chest out, elbows underneath. So you're not stopping, perhaps it would be easier to show from front. We're not stopping here or coming underneath and then coming up afterwards. We just want to aim for getting up as fast as possible with the intent of moving as fast as possible. So you're down and you're up. Often, if you move slow, you're not going to get the same movement that's required. So give those tips a try and let me know what you think.